I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Oh my word is all I have to say. This was one of the craziest episodes of TV that I've ever seen in my life. Of course, I'm talking about part 2 of Peter's finale on The Bachelor. Oh man, I'm gonna try to do it fast because we have so much to talk about.
Barb's finale
Barb's
on The
finale on The Bachelor.
Oh,
Mike
right.
Theiling, that's right. That voice is one of my favorite people in the world. It's Mike Theiling.
Hey!
Mike, I can't wait to hear you get into this. You guys know Mike. He's a reality TV fanatic, a passionate Bachelor fan.
Big time, passionate Bachelor fan, passionate White Claw fan.
Been a couple White Claws before.
Unofficial sponsor of today's podcast. We needed to get through. I'm going to save my stuff for the whole rundown, but just to say that I am disappointed in how everything was handled.
Okay, I'm glad to hear why. Rachel, of course, you guys know Rachel Swindler. If you're a Big Brother fan, you saw her on that season. But of course, you're an amazing host in your own right.
Oh, thank you.
Passionate reality TV insider.
Yeah.
So glad to have you tonight. What an episode.
Wow, Barb. That's
Barb.
The Barb cam. That's all I can say.
And then
Right now.
my partner in crime, Christine Bean, sitting next to me. Christine Alexis, you guys know her from Love is Blind. You know her from, tons of after shows. Here You Right for Perez.
Yeah.
Longtime Bachelor fan.
I'm shook, Jeff. I'm shook. I feel like you sitting next to me, you feel the energy coursing through my
All of
veins
us,
right now.
I
I'm
feel
like,
and my name is Jeff, guys. Hi, nice to meet you. Quickly, it's not only the four of us. We have our live chat as well. We have hundreds, soon to be hopefully thousands of people watching all across the world. We're so glad to have you guys. Mike will be reading your thoughts on air. My eye line's jumping everywhere tonight if you guys are watching, just because I'm so giddy about tonight's episode. But
we're there with you.
yeah, this is it. We're going to talk about it. Normally we have special segments and predictions and news. We have so much to talk about. We'll see if we get to it. You guys want to hear our thoughts. Okay, Mike, I want to hear why you were disappointed with tonight's episode.
I was disappointed in how each segment, let's call it, was handled from an actual relationship standpoint.
Okay.
Let's get that out of the way. TV-wise, this was awesome. It was super fun to watch and great and all that kind of stuff. But if we're talking about actual love, how he handled Hannah Ann, how he handled Madison, and how he handled his parents, I was disappointed in all three.
Fair enough. Yeah. Rachel,
overall,
overall.
Overall, I think that Peter was not doing any of this maliciously. I don't think that he purposely was, I'm going to propose to Hannah Ann and I'm going to hurt her and all this stuff. I just think, I agree. He did not have time to grieve that relationship. Anybody with a freaking eyesight or vision could have seen that he was more in love with Madison than Hannah Ann.
Yeah.
He knew that. He should have just said, hey, Hannah Ann, let's take this slow. Let's just date. Let's date and see what happens. He shouldn't have taken that moment away from her. I don't think he did it maliciously, but he knew that it was too soon. He just wants love that bad.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, I wish he would have pulled a Colton and just, said, F the rules. I'm going to do this my way and let's slow this down and take it at our own pace, because I agree with everything you said. That relationship with Madison was clearly still weighing on his heart. And just based off of what he says later on in the conversation with Hannah Ann, he admitted that he knew that he wasn't there and that he did wrong by her. So as much as I feel for him and want to give him that grace, it's like, well, you still made that choice.
I gotta be honest, I am trying my best to be professional and listen to everything y'all are saying. I'm just thinking about Barb. I'm only thinking about Barb. I'm thinking about Peter's mom. I'm thinking about how hard this was to watch. Let's start with Barb versus Madison versus Peter. Okay. Have you guys ever...
Really? Oh, you're starting at the
I
end.
want to start
wow.
with them. I just feel like, how can we not...
All right.
Have we seen this kind of behavior from a parent ever on this show?
Not that I know of.
No, but I don't think you've seen a parent like this before on the show. I said it yesterday. I have a great relationship with my parents, and my mom is never, as soon as I walk in the room, like, ah! It's like, chill out. It's just strange. It's strange. It's a different level. And then the hatred and the animosity that we saw on her face the entire time towards Madison.
Crazy.
And then we find out the reason this 3 hours they made her wait or something like that, when in my mind I'm saying that's production.
That's exactly what I said.
What's the big deal? They're on a show. Like, this stuff has delays or whatever. And then the fact that she didn't just, kneel down and proclaim undying love for this guy she met 30 days ago or whatever. That to me is where I again separate out the reality show from actual love and say it's kind of nuts to be head over heels in love with somebody after, weeks of knowing them. It's much more plausible to me to be where Madison is at. Like, I think I love this guy. I'm really falling for him. Great connection, blah, blah, blah. But do you want her just to lie? Maybe Hannah Ann was just lying because that it's what mom wants to hear.
I think Barb was on a total power trip with that. It's like, you didn't come in and apologize. You didn't come and, basically groveled for our approval. It's like, she doesn't want to see her son love anybody more than she loves him, or that he loves her in the way that they love each other. But just, she's the number one woman in his life. As far as I know, Peter still lives at home. And I think that was a straight up flex. No. You need to come how Hannah did, or not at all. That's basically what
she needs to take a step back. I love Barb. I think she's hilarious. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would like to have a mother like Barb. I think she's kind of like a good time.
She'd probably be a fun if she liked you.
If she liked me, which she would, because I'm a fun time. But anyways, I will say though, I agree. Like, they have a relationship to figure out. Okay, 3 hours production, whatever. They had to figure out their stuff. Of course, she wants to meet you, but what just happened was the whole virginity thing, the religion thing. They have a lot of stuff to unpack, and she wasn't trying to be disrespectful towards them.
See, I don't think my mom. I mean, obviously, I'm married, right? So I know, how my mom would react to these kind of things. But I don't see my mom ever going against my judgment. Peter's an adult. He's a pilot. Okay, he's legit adult. Got his stuff together. He's saying, I don't like this one, Mom. I really like this. This is the person I'm in love with. Should that just be enough?
Because she doesn't want these women to change him, but she wants to change all his choices.
Ooh.
I'm just saying,
Christine, veto, sound effect.
I'll give it to myself.
Anything, veto.
No, for real. She trusts all of his decision making. Oh, but Peter, not this one. Girl, no.
Yeah, point blank, he's a grown-ass man.
Period.
I want to shout out Vito real quick. Vito, I've never seen a producer get this show started more quickly. I've never seen a producer get a show started more quickly than he did tonight.
Good
Vito,
job, big dog. Say what's up, Vito. Say what's up.
It's so good to hear you guys. It's so good to be here. Glad to be here for the finale of my first season working The Bachelor, and boy, has it been a season.
Oh, Vito, you're the best. And he was throwing out some photos too. So if you're listening on the podcast, check out our YouTube. And I will say quickly, if you're on our YouTube, I know we have a ton of viewers. Just give us those likes. That helps us so much, you guys. We love you so much.
Yep.
Speaking of the chat, Mike, any thoughts in there?
A lot of agreement with us that just Barb is out of line and really being rude to Madison and things like that, just in general.
That's just... Here's one thing I will say, though. I agree with everything y'all are saying about Barb. I think Maddie should have apologized.
When she came in late?
For what?
Just...
For what?
Do you think she knew she was late?
I think I'm sorry that I held up your time. I don't know. I'm the kind of person...
It's not their show!
Yeah.
It's her show and Peter's show.
Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm the kind of person who, if my parents-in-law are upset, I just apologize.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
But Midwest nice person.
That's what they want. You gotta play the game.
So sorry, guys, because we got a super chat from Kimberly Walker. Thank you so much for hooking us up. She says, Peter's a train wreck. He plays good guy, but suspect emoji face. So... It's not Barb's show. And she made for great TV, but the kind of overbearingness to me, it's like, you gotta chill out.
I'm just thinking, if you upset Raquel, is that okay if I say your wife's name on air?
Yeah.
Okay. If
Raquel's image via Instagram has been on air.
Raquel's the best. But if you upset her parents on air.
If
you upset her parents at all, are you one, even if you disagree, to not apologize? Or...
No. I would always go to my wife and say, was I over the line? Did I do something wrong? And even not, we're going to come to some kind of understanding. There can never be that much animosity or that much, thing that you do wrong. Nor do I think there actually was here.
Yeah.
She waited for a production of a reality show. What are you even talking about?
It's just a tough battle. That's a tough battle to fight. And Maddie's she's talked about how she's strong-willed. I think at that moment, I really believe Barbara cools off a lot if Maddie just says she's sorry.
Yeah, but I also think it's really immature of Barb to harp on that.
Totally.
I think, you can feel a little slighted, but you're a grown-ass woman, and I just feel to say, because she waited till now to bring that up as if that was some serious deciding factor that we didn't know about. We didn't even get that part in the edit. We just saw them sit down after they, Madison told Peter she loved him, and then the conversation ensued. We didn't even get that, initial like from her. She seemed into it at the time, grilled her a little bit, but like why wait till now to say like that was some underlying reason why she really wasn't behind this relationship? That's petty as hell.
Guys,
That's petty.
I want to shout out a point that was brought up in the chat that was by Lauren Kimberly. Adult is subjective. I think we have a situation in here where his parents are just like, she does not know how to handle this, and it's a totally different aspect of a relationship that they've probably never had to deal with.
Yeah.
And Peter is on a show that they've had to deal with kind of, but not in this way.
I'm going to piggyback on Vito shouting somebody out in the chat because this is really insightful, actually. J Jobs, always in here. Appreciate you participating. Madison did not want to meet the parents. Okay, so based on the timeline of meeting parents is after Fantasy Suites, right? So do we think that that played into the 3 hours of her actually being like, you know what, this is going downhill. This guy just hooked up with these other girls. I didn't want that. Now I kind of am not as into it. Did that play into it? Or what annoyed me the most is that they didn't explain the 3 hours. Like, talk about what the complaints are then.
Yeah, I know. We did see Peter and Maddie's really long conversation. I think probably, again, I'm not necessarily defending Barb because her behavior was nuts tonight, but from her shoes, I'm sure she's thinking, here's this girl that loves my son enough to excitedly meet their family. Here's this other girl that's so afraid to meet the family. She's spending 3 hours talking to him in a dramatic conversation a week before their engagement. That's so scary as a mom. You know, you think, my son's about to commit his life, and it's not her place to decide who his son loves, but she's playing too much of the mom. She hasn't let him go yet. She hasn't cut the ties.
Sure.
And she knows that in a week, this person who's so afraid of a future with my son needs to spend 3 hours to the point where they're afraid to meet me. Like, that is concerning. I understand why she's dicey about this. She handled herself terribly tonight.
Yeah, and let's also make it a point where they're talking about all the difficulties in their relationship and how it's supposed to be rainbows and sunshines. Up until this fantasy suite night, their relationship was amazing. Rainbows and sunshines, the only consistent relationship in that house that was actually great, amazing conversations, going perfectly. They dealt with real world issues that people deal with in relationships.
I also want to point out, Madison was on the first one-on-one date where she was at the Webbers' vow renewal. It wasn't the first time that she was late to meet them, or this was the first time she could have been late, but she already met them. You know what I mean? So it's like, did she ruin the first impression? I thought you had a great one with her before this, so.
And, not to make double standards or anything like that, but if Barb put herself in other people's shoes, what if that was your daughter?
Yeah.
What if Madison's your daughter, and your daughter was like, you know what, I have certain values, I don't feel this way, blah, 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 or whatever, or now I feel a certain type of way, so I need to talk it out with Peter before meeting his family on television in this setup. It's very illogical when you think about it this way. I feel like Barb figured out what she was going to stand up for, what her idea was, and then is probably not very open to hearing other opinions on it.
I think they're probably both stubborn. I could tell both Barb and Maddie are stubborn, that is a scary future for both of them.
But there's no future for both.
We'll have to talk about that.
I don't know about that one.
I don't know if Maddie.
That last 10 minutes of the show, to me, like, put the nail in the coffin.
That
how far they can go.
That was
he's
crazy
gonna fail. It's not gonna work out.
He's going to fail to succeed.
How would your mom said that about your relationship?
That was savage.
Barb, you
that
talking
was
to his
savage.
friends?
So mean.
Listen, and I will say, God, it's going to be really, really difficult for as close as that family is for this relationship to get past the parents not loving Madison.
Oh, yeah.
I had a really great friend when I was in high school as well. Same thing happened to her. She was in love. They were in love together, but his parents did not like her, and the relationship fell apart very quickly after.
How do you come back from that as Madison? Oh, everybody's against our relationship, and I'm just terrible to everybody in your life.
She's very resilient.
She is, but
she has a very self-assured.
In the 8 weeks or whatever the production is she in love with this guy enough to just weather this entire storm of everybody in his life that evidently hates her?
Poor Peter.
Come
that
on.
dude is screwed.
Barb is upset that when Madison stuck to her guns, that it unfortunately had a bad effect on Peter. But like, she was just saying her truth. There's ups and downs in a relationship. I don't know. I feel like she's nailing her to the cross like so quickly.
I want to shout this out in the chat too. Danny Spina, I hope I'm saying it right. Do you think Peter would have gone after Maddie had Chris not gotten to her first? Let's even just expand on that. Peter didn't do it. Chris was like, we need some TV content here, so I'm going to go to Alabama. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, Peter didn't take that initiative.
He was still licking his wounds. Because, okay.
By the pool.
I mean.
His forehead.
His scar. Low blow, Christine.
Licking his wounds.
Well, I'm just saying, like, we said that he needed time to grieve the relationship with Maddie, right? And we kind of chewed him out for still proposing to Hannah Ann. So we can't expect him to, we have to put the shoe on the other foot and be like, okay, then take the same amount of time to grieve Hannah Ann's relationship.
See, no, I disagree. No, because if we're going to move on to Hannah Ann, this is, again, I'm disappointed in how he handled this. He knew that he was all in on Madison. I think. I don't think it was 50-50. I think he knew he was all in on Madison, and I think points to him and going that way. I think when you're on this show, there's probably a lot of pressure to propose. So okay, so I'm gonna propose to her. But then he let it kind of linger on, and then he let her down. I don't give him the same kind of let's let him heal and we were both hurt or anything like that, because he knew Madison was the one. He could have dealt with this from the beginning, not slept with the other girls in the fantasy suite, abided by her rules to really see and everybody on a fair and even keel, and then he could have ended up with Madison, no problem.
Can we hold this conversation for just 1 second? I just want to wrap up Maddie real quick. I do want to get back to that, Mike, because there's so much there with the Hannah Ann stuff. The last thing I want to ask about Maddie is, do we have hope for them? I don't feel like there was a ton of heat tonight.
I don't think it's going to last, and I didn't like his response whenever he said, are you guys still together?
That's
I
right.
didn't like, Peter's response was very lackluster.
I'm like,
yes.
buddy, we're calling him buddy. He has this way of just, when it's his time to step up and be romantic, just stabbing the knife and twisting it. Like, it's always like, well, there's this grand moment. And he'll be like, I've got to be honest, I actually don't think so, and actually this sucks. It's like, as a dude, you have to play a little romance. And for someone who's so demanding that people give him so much affirmation.
That's true.
When they ask for those moments from him, he's like, nope, not really. I actually don't think so. Bye.
Yeah,
like he's so like bad at returning. He goes, we'll take it day by day, and we'll see. I don't know. It's gonna be an uphill battle. That's what he said.
It's so lackluster.
Like, be romantic, dude.
Yeah,
this is the time right now.
This is the time. No, go, Mike.
This is the time to stand up to your mom. Like, this would have been it. Like, this is the cord-cutting moment for Peter, right? If we're going to really lay into him that Barb hasn't cut the cord, like, this is the time to say, I completely respect my parents' opinions. I know they want for the best for me, but I know this is right. I'm 100% in this relationship.
Yes.
I messed up. I can't apologize enough to Hannah Ann, but Mom and Dad, like, we're going to work every day to prove this to you, and I'm going to work every day to prove this to Madison's parents too, because they don't have a voice on the special. Right? But I, like, devastated their daughter, so how do I look as a son-in-law to them?
Yeah.
Right?
There's a whole other side of it,
He can
too.
shore this whole thing up, but instead he bit his passive Peter act.
It's an interesting
Sad
question
Peter.
of, is it always right
White Claw got me fired up!
White Claw got us all. White Claw got us all fired up. The question that was really interesting all season I kept asking was, is it always right to be 100% nakedly honest in a relationship? I don't think so. I think you have to be honest in a way that's sensitive and emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
And I think
Peter doesn't do
time
that.
and time again, Peter's honesty just completely deflated any romance from this show.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
That's how I feel.
There's a
I think
difference.
What you were saying earlier about him having just avoided all of this by being more upfront. Earlier, I would have wanted to see the Peter that we saw on Natasha's one-on-one, where he was just so damn straightforward in a nice way of like, this just really isn't it. Like, he just, I don't know, he lost his cojones towards the end, I guess.
Oof. All right, well, so Mike, you brought up Hannah Ann. I'm so glad you did, because we have so much to unpack there. First of all,
before I get into it, a lot of comments in the chat about Kelly. A lot of comments about
Kelly.
Kelly. Why was Kelly there? Why?
What was that?
Bachelor was like production. They were like, all right, damage control.
Yeah,
And she's
100%.
killing Kelly.
100%.
That's it.
She wasn't on Women Tell All.
Yeah.
She was a favorite. Probably a lot of people giving him flack for it.
Yeah,
And she
that's
looked
for sure.
great.
She did look great. Kelly, we see you.
But why was Neil Lane there for giving us a fake out? Like, I thought we were going to get a proposal.
Because
at
Neil
one
Lane
point.
spends a lot of money advertising on The Bachelor. He gets to go to the finale.
Yeah, they're like, why is Neil Lane in the audience?
Yeah, he
I
was
was
there
like,
with the briefcase. I'm like, sir? Excuse me?
Crazy. Neil Lane.
production.
Well, okay, so we were talking about how Peter has this ability, this uncanny instinct to kind of say the wrong thing. And during his proposal, he told her Madison left. which to me is essentially saying, well, Madison left, but you're my second choice. Let's get engaged.
100%. Why would you say that? Why does she need that information?
Why would you say? Can anyone on this panel tell me why it's a good idea to tell her that?
It wasn't a good idea. I was thrown off by that. If you had been proposing to me, and why didn't it? And I did feel bad for her because she said that was unfair to me. You blindsided me, and he did. He should have sat her down. He should have sat her down 2 days, 1 day prior and said, hey, this is the situation, but I want to propose to you. You were the person that I pick. Yeah. Tell me how you're feeling. He needed to have an adult conversation, so I agree, because that's what she said she wanted, and he should have given her that.
Because the night before, she was dressed up all nice to have a final conversation with him, and homeboy came in a hoodie looking real sad, telling her, my heart's still being pulled in 2 different directions. So then to just roll up and be like, oh, hey, by the way, one of those hearts are gone, and you're the one.
And you're left. You're my leftover.
I mean,
she left.
We laughed at Hannah
Ann. You win by default.
That's what he said.
Expressions afterwards, but now I'm like, I probably would have been just as caught off guard, because it seems so like, oh, we're engaged.
And wow. Okay, you picked me? Oh my gosh. I didn't
It makes sense now.
Her reaction was
crazy.
Very Casey Musgraves winning Artist of the Year. Like, have you guys seen that gif of her going, what? I was like ready to gif that. Yeah, do you guys, so let's talk about, Hannah Ann getting dumped. Do we think Peter handled the dumping well? That's a sentence I don't want to ever repeat again.
Did he handle it well? I think that he handled it the best that he could. He handled it in true Peter fashion, just saying, I'm sorry, and crying, and putting all the blame on himself, and all the blame. He always puts everything on himself. So he handled it in true Peter fashion, where it's just me crying, me playing the victim a little bit too.
A little bit.
Coming from someone who deals with weddings a lot, I literally, during this broadcast, got booked for another wedding this year.
Mike is a
minister,
if you guys didn't know.
I am, professional wedding officiant. I married lots of people. I thought it was probably the best he could possibly do, but I don't think he truly deserved that opportunity because he shouldn't have proposed in the first place. I think Hannah Ann, albeit young, I think she's 100% honest in all of her feelings and everything that we saw. And to me, obviously, it's normally, girls getting proposed to. So she really took it to heart that her proposal, her engagement is ruined, right? She is a kind of a one and done kind of person in her mind. And this has ruined it for her. And so it shouldn't have even had the opportunity to have a decent breakup or a decent way to call off the proposal.
Yeah.
Just really hurt her.
I mean, being someone myself whose my love language is words of affirmation, I totally was feeling Hannah Ann when she kept harping on the fact that his words just really didn't match his actions, at all. Like, that is really tough to go through that with somebody, wait a month, and all you have is their word that they're into this, and then come to find out they're really not. I mean, I think she said it on the live portion of the episode that she did wish that she had a little more... that she fed into the signs a little bit more, which I also agree.
Yeah. Sure.
But Peter, I'm shaking my head. I have no more words. I could go on, but it's
what do you say? I did like how she handled it.
Yeah.
She like a boss. Like,
so
good.
We had 2 separate scenes of badass Hannah Ann. Yeah. The first one was at the presumably Airbnb, right? That they had rented. He goes and tries to talk to her, and she's not having it.
She's like,
yeah.
You've done enough damage.
She says, for not being man enough to tell me the truth, torn and conflicted Peter took this special moment away because you were too selfish to let me go.
Oof. Yeah.
I was like, finally, we get some personality from Hannah Ann.
Yeah.
It's crazy that it took us this whole journey to see that, she is an independent thinker. She has emotions and feelings. It was great. It was great television.
A lot of support in the chat from Hannah Ann.
No fury, like a woman scorned.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I love the way that she handled it after the rose ceremony when she sat down and she said, if you want to be with a woman, you need to become a man.
Yeah. That was a mic drop moment. That was awesome.
Drop that mic, girl. But it was so nice to see her finally standing up for herself and really getting gritty and saying, you're not going to walk all over me anymore. I'm not going to be your rock. I'm not going to hang on every single word that you say anymore. Yes. This is what's going down.
A lot of people in the chat saying she's going to do good in Paradise. Do we think she's headed for there?
She'll be like the next Hannah G.
100% she's headed there unless her family's like, hell no, you ain't gonna do this again.
I think she'll end up Paradise. I think she put in a great ballot for a future Bachelorette tonight.
Absolutely. 2 more seasons, I give it to her.
Yeah. I didn't see it as much before today, but I really did tonight.
It was nice. I bet the producers were wary for a lot of the same reasons we are. Who is this girl? What does she offer? I hate to say that. She's beautiful. She's a model. She's, kind and sweet. But we never really saw any kind of dynamics from her. She wasn't a very dynamic character on this franchise. Tonight she was dynamic, and what surprised me the most about tonight was during their conversation at the live taping, normally when the women get their final word, it's like, well, I know how hard this was for Peter, and I'm going to give him the... She just went, she doubled down.
Yeah.
And as aptly pointed out in the chat, even Barb clapped for her.
I know, Barb clapped.
Was into
but
it.
Barb is
So
Teddy Queen. So
she's going to come back, and Barb will be her mentor.
My favorite thing was the way that she gave him a straight-up church hug when they saw each other.
Yeah, the side hug. The side hug.
Yeah.
Like,
Deserved.
Oh my gosh.
She's
Yeah,
like,
just
sent me.
for the last thing, she brought up Hannah. Well, let's talk about this. So, Christine, you brought up a very interesting point. The last thing she said, she dropped this huge bomb on all of us. No one dared to unpack the bomb that was dropped. She was like, not only did you incorporate a second woman into our engagement,
let's go.
You brought in a third. You brought in Hannah B too.
Hannah B. Okay, and I need some clarification because was this week 1 or 2 where Hannah B was still floating around, or was this during this month time that he needed to reach out to her for closure? Like where was this conversation? I needed to know more, and I just ABC, how you gonna do this to us? Because
how you gonna do this?
Hannah Brown being the one he ended up with was a big theory that was floating all season long. Like I think as viewers we're deserved to wrap that plot line up. No?
Why does he need closure with Hannah B still?
I know.
Clearly, Peter just...
You don't know what he wants.
He's not over her.
He opens his heart and he never closes it. That's the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
He just keeps going.
Yeah.
Like, just from... I believe that we have... multiple soulmates, I guess is the word. Like, there are multiple people you can connect with in this life, but you're one person. I don't know if Peter's gonna find it with the methods that he's using.
I know. Well, that was what I so appreciated. And what was so frustrating to me about Peter, when he was dumping Hannah Ann, he kept saying, this is just how I feel. This is what my heart is doing. And love is a lot about feelings, but it's also about choice. You have to make a choice to love someone.
And respect. And
I'm sorry, you can feel a certain way, but if feelings were the anchor of marriage, there would not be a lot of marriages in this country, because feelings is a huge part of it, but you also have to choose to love that person every day.
Yep.
I that's what I believe. I mean,
I think you...
And he kept saying, I choose you, and didn't.
And he kept saying, I choose you, and then he decided not to choose her.
I think he loves all these women. I don't think he's in love with any of them.
Not even Madison.
No, I don't think he's in love with Madison. That's my I
actually feel I would say it the opposite. I feel like he's in love with Liza, but he doesn't love any of them. I guess it depends on how you define it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Myself, I can say that I love you. But for me to say I am in love with you, that's deep.
Yeah,
that's fair.
That's deep.
In general, I think your feelings in a marriage are in love, and you make conscious decisions and choices to do all of the things that surround that, or to not look for other people. Funny comment in the chat from Sarah. Just found a tweet that said Kelly was there so Madison and Peter could file for a restraining order from Barb. She is a lawyer.
So she could lawyer. We have 900 plus viewers in the chat right now.
943 right now because you guys are amazing.
Oh my god.
There you go, Vito.
Let's get back to 1,000.
I think we need 1,000 for the finale, y'all.
Smash that like button.
Smash it.
Smash it.
Gosh.
Or the thumbs up button.
So, do we think Peter's ready to get married?
No.
Do we think he's even ready to date?
No.
And I'm glad.
He's ready to date.
He's ready to date.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have a boyfriend.
Rachel.
But I'm like, Peter.
You know, I had a boyfriend was Peter. I mean, you could just pull a Peter and slide his DMs. Or a girlfriend, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got you.
You were going to say something, Christine.
Well, no, I was saying, because I was speculating there was going to be a proposal because we saw Neil Lane there, but I'm actually glad it didn't end that way, because if Madison was to turn around and be like, yeah, let's get married right now, I'd be like, this is fake.
Yeah.
Barb's reaction would have been amazing.
This is so fake.
A lot of people are kind of accusing Maddie of not being there for the right reasons, because she did just sign with Lori K. Do you guys know about Lori K PR?
What's Lori K?
I know her. I signed with her.
That's great.
For a month. Yeah.
Well, Lori K. Look at Rachel now. Let's get her back on your.
No.
What?
Oh.
Hey.
Well, Lori K. PR. You know, she does all she does all the reality talent publicizing, and Maddie just signed with her, which is interesting.
She's a public figure now, though.
She's a public figure.
I don't think that's
Hey,
telling.
she's the biggest star to come out of the Bachelor franchise. Lori's got to get on that.
I know.
She's
It's just
gotta get on
interesting.
there.
People are accusing her of wanting to be like a Christian influencer. There is like a very specific space for like
Cassie?
Hey,
Yeah.
I would too.
Just
Why are you
saying.
getting on her about being an influencer? I mean, of course I've done stuff too, but like,
Yeah, totally.
But
Every
if you got
single
1.2 million followers, you better make that dough. I made my dough when I got off the show. I said, "F this, I'm gonna do it."
Every,
not mad at it.
every single
I'm gonna make
person
my
on the
money.
show wants to be an influencer.
Right.
Every single girl wants to be the Bachelorette. Let's
just
not
want
get it
money.
twisted.
Yeah.
And that's totally cool. It's
Yeah.
totally cool.
Well, I'd
Yeah.
just be curious to hear what y'all think in the comments and the chat. Yo, I do think we've covered a lot of this. I will say we were worried we wouldn't be able to cover it all, but I think we've never spoken faster. And we're going to be honest, we had a couple White Claws before we went on there. So I think
White Claw.
we love White Claw. Any other thoughts on tonight's episode?
Let me look at my
I
notes.
thought
I
it was,
haven't
it
done
was
I think, well, I saw on Twitter before we got on the show that a lot of people were talking about like Madison kind of, showing restraint in how she responded to Barb. And do we think, I guess we did talk about this. Just like, what could she have said in that moment to make anything better?
Well, I'm going to stand by the fact that I think when you hurt people, it's nice to say sorry. I think if someone's asking for an apology and they're hurt, it's nice to say sorry. And I do think it really could have helped the room if Maddie would have said she was. I don't like hurting people. And both of her future in-laws were very hurt. I think maybe this is like the honor thy mother and father thing that I grew up with. And honestly, I believe it's sort of a part of my faith. I think even if you disagree, it's nice to say sorry to people when you hurt them. I think Maddie could have said she was sorry.
I don't think Barb would ever apologize to her, though.
No, I don't think she would either. But
Oh.
turn the other cheek. I mean, like if you're really about your faith.
You're
I don't
calling
know.
Maddie's card right
I'm
now.
not trying to call Maddie out, but I was a little unimpressed by it. Felt a little disrespectful, even though Barb was being crazy.
Yeah.
I do feel like there's a little space for Maddie to say like I don't like hurting people, and I'm sorry that this played out the way it did.
But that's how I am too. Even if I feel like I'm in the right, I'll be like, listen, clearly I've done something to upset you.
Yeah.
And for that, I'm sorry. I still stand by on my stance, but I'm sorry I hurt you and that my actions directly affected you.
Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have 1,000 concurrent viewers.
Hey, welcome everybody. So much. Thank you.
Hop on, White Claw.
I understand what you guys are saying, but I don't think she really had anything to apologize. Okay, I understand what you guys are saying, but what I really want is the actual problems addressed.
Yeah.
It was very simple just to say, I wasn't keeping you for 3 hours like production had us interviewing or something. Like, that squashes it, right? So I don't know that there's necessarily a need for an apology because I don't necessarily think the things Barb's mad about she had any control over anyway.
Maybe not, but maybe she did.
Maybe.
We don't know.
But, I mean...
Yeah. We don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, the only part of her rebuttal that I didn't like was that she started off by saying, "It is what it is." That to me was too passive.
Yeah, that was
Everything
not
she said
cool.
after
Yeah.
that was like, she was like, well, we can't rehash the past, but like, we care about each other. But I'm like, don't start off with "it is what it is."
is.
That rubbed me the wrong way.
That's true.
That
it is
part
what
only.
it is.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I,
was like,
didn't like
ooh.
that either.
I was like, it's just, I've never seen so much passive dislike between two people, and one of them is going to have to make a decision. Because Peter's trying,
I don't think so.
Peter's got
I
to
don't
move
think
out,
they're gonna.
first of all.
Yeah,
Move out
Peter's
of that
gotta move
house.
I don't think they're gonna end
Move
up together. So I don't think it
out of
matters.
the house,
You
but
don't-
not that
you don't-
Airbnb.
I don't think they're going to end up this is a rough one for Peter.
This is a very non-fairy tale ending to the Bachelor season.
So then it's not exactly like Ari's ending then.
Yeah, you're
You know?
right.
True.
Because
true.
it seemed very familiar, but not quite. So.
What do we think was a crazier finale? Ari's finale or this finale? Christine brought that up. I thought it was a great question.
Yeah, I just think nothing will top the side-by-side split screen that we got during Ari and Becca's breakup. That was absolutely brutal. I was gutted. I think I shed tears when we actually watched it here.
Crazy.
So yeah, very similar, but I think that one takes the cake. I will say Hannah's breakup was a lot more satisfying, how she delivered it. But yeah, I think Ari's was worse.
Same.
Yeah, I would say whole episode, maybe this one.
Yeah.
Specific moment, Ari's breakup with Becca. I don't know if anything touches it.
Yeah. Speaking of Ari, he put up a funny post. Well, I thought it was just funny this morning, asking his followers to kind of give Peter grace. And it was like a slide through photo of him and Lauren at GMA the day after that whole debacle happened. And he was basically saying like, well, you know, I turned out happy, so he'll be fine. That's like, you also hurt someone. I mean, sure, Becca, they both turned out better for it in the end, but still, like, that was...
Yeah, a lot of comments in the chat about Barb owing Madison an apology.
Yeah.
So there's one thing of not thinking that they are right together, and there's a different thing of what looked like vitriol and like hatred spewing out of her eyes. Like this girl didn't do anything mean or bad in general.
Yeah.
Right? In fact, she seemed to be there for the most purest reasons. Overall, you know, top level. There's no reason for the animosity. It's not her fault that Peter broke off the engagement or whatever. I mean,
and what about Peter, the way he handled it? I don't see Barb like reprimanding him like, yo, you could have handled this better.
Yeah.
And then everybody out there, I challenge you this. Let us know what they said, what she was saying in Spanish.
Yes.
Go back, rewind, and let's see if we can figure out what she was saying. Because we tried to at one point.
Any of the lip speaking.
But then the one time she just spoke in Spanish to her husband. I said, what'd she say?
Peter
He said something like, you need to help me or something.
It was definitely like,
Ayúdame, I heard.
Don't leave me out
yeah.
here.
I do want to talk about that was the ultimate dad energy. Watching Peter Sr. be torn between his son, probably not wanting to be on TV, just sitting there with his mustache, having I was just like, this, if we want to just talk about like dad energy contained in a bottle, that cracked me up. I was like, this is kind of hilarious. Yeah. Looking back on the Barb, Maddie of it all, I don't think Barb would have gotten quite as vitriolic if Maddie hadn't I mean, Maddie was kind of smiling and laughing at Barb too, which if your mother-in-law is really hurt, I don't know if you're supposed to smile and laugh. I really think Barb was completely unreasonable, but as a conflict resolver, I think there's a way Maddie could have sort of what's the word I'm looking for?
Okay.
Disarmed the bomb, and I don't think she tried to disarm the bomb because she loves to stick.
Into the awkwardness.
She leaned into it.
So Rachel's challenge has been accepted.
Yes.
Basically, she said, say something bad to help me. Say something mean to help me.
To help me.
Right.
Wow.
Thank you, Vito.
Say something mean, you need to help me.
And
something along those lines.
I'll say this too, and I'm not saying, thank you guys for figuring that out. I'm not saying that this is how Barb feels, but sometimes when people of religion claim, stake, and think so highly, not so highly of themselves, but they have such a high religion, and that people can feel threatened by that.
Yeah, or judged.
Or judged. Mm-hmm. Or judged. So maybe she feels threatened by her religion, and that she feels like she could possibly whole family in general could be judged for their decisions.
Judged
and what they do.
And sort of pushed to the side.
Exactly.
You know, that's a mother's greatest fear, is that their son gets married and they never see their son again. And I think that's what she's foreseeing with Maddie, which... I don't know.
My mom's greatest wish.
But also, if you're getting married and you're starting a future with somebody, you gotta let go of your parents, right?
Yeah, you do. You leave and cleave.
Leave and cleave, Jeff.
Wow.
Listen, Barb, they just want to party. They want to have parties at their house. They want to have line dancing, multiple people over. They want some White Claws. They want their wine. Yeah. They want to have a good time. They said, we don't think Maddie can do that. Okay?
By the way, y'all, people are saying in the chat that actually what she said was, I said something bad or wrong. Please help me.
Oh, I said something bad. Okay. Thank you.
It might be one or the other, but that's a lot of people are saying that she was like, I said something bad.
I'm looking bad, help me. I'm looking bad, help me. Okay, well, at least she has some self-awareness. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. She was looking bad. She needed Ayuda.
Some of the craziest people that I grew up with, I met in church. I will say that. So I'm going to give Maddie,
sure.
I will say maybe Maddie has a side we don't know about.
I know.
And she's still so young. Let this girl grow up.
Yes.
Your views are going to evolve for better or for worse. But I think this is a terrible snapshot of just where they're at. And I think...
It's tough to watch.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's hard to move on from this in a relationship in general.
I know. In general, I will say I've been a little hard on Maddie tonight, but I really like her and I admire her. Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, there's a part of me that still kind of likes Barb. I sort of love the fiery mom.
I like her. I like her energy.
She's a great character, and Bachelor loves to redeem people. It will not take much for Barb to redeem herself if she wants to make any additional appearances on this show.
If Madison comes back as Bachelorette, Barb will be an advisor.
Yeah,
she's gonna swoop in and help out or something.
Totally.
I don't know.
I got many friends that have Barb moms, so I've seen the Barb moms before.
She got too harsh, but I still got a little space in my heart for Barb.
I would like to say, just based off the comments in the chat, love you guys. I don't have blinders for Madison. I just think she's getting treated a little bit poorly by mom and kind of thrown under the bus just in general for some of the things she said and whatever. I don't have blinders on for her.
Well, guys, what a fun freaking season. I love this panel so much. I love that we don't always agree. That's one of my favorite things. But it's just so much fun to host with you guys. We will be back probably for Listen to Your Heart, right? I'm coming back for that.
I'll be back for Listen to Your Heart.
We also want to just say the most sincere thank you to you guys. I know we don't always have time in our segments to shout all of you guys out like we'd want, get to the chat like we want, but we read every comment, and we do read those iTunes reviews. When you give us those 5 stars, it means so much. You guys have the nicest things to say, and
seriously,
truly, it's the fun part of podcasting is like doing it for y'all. So clearly you're as like bonkers about this franchise as we are, and we love you so much. Come back, join us for Listen to Your Heart. It's gonna be in a month.
Oh my God.
Until then, you guys can follow me on Twitter at Jeffrey C. Graham and continue to watch my Bachelor News Daily segments on the AfterBuzz Reality channel.
Oh yeah, and in the meantime, you guys can find me on Twitter at Christine Bean and on Instagram at Christine Alexis, and I'll probably be hosting whatever reality dating show comes out of this afterwards. Love is Blind, all of it. You find me there, I'll be there.
Yeah, right. You can follow me on Instagram at Rachel Swindler or on Twitter at Rachie Swin. Love you guys.
Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. We topped over 1,100 live viewers. You guys are amazing. Misha, Kayla, Simply Sarah, Gemma, Spring, Daisy, Bold, NS, Jessica, Kayla, Brrr, Life is a Journey, Taylor Ann, Daily, Sugar, Shanice, Sweet Smile, Mama Mia, Denisha. My name is Mike Theiling. You find me everywhere at Mike Theiling. Good night.
Like this video as we leave. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.